Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 735 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I am, of course, with Chris DeBona.
Hey.
And Rob Roseboom.
Good morning.
Gentlemen, how are we doing?
Rob?
Oh, you know.
I do know. Because before I press stream, it's the airing of grievances part of the day. Every recording session is like a mini Festivus.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I just got back from a vacation, and then next week I'm helping my kid move apartments near college. So that'll be something.
You know, you could probably this is a totally different city than you live in. So shouldn't you pay people to help your kid move?
I like my kid.
All right, that's fair.
And we're gonna get to see her summer research project thing.
That's neat.
It'll be sweet. I miss her. So, yeah.
I was my project for last week was going to be to upgrade my kid's gaming PC from ancient to something that was
moderately ancient.
Well, it would be my old 3900X. It'd be pretty good.
Oh.
But so I did the thing, I took his hard drive out, put it in hard drive. I put the SSD out, put it in the new computer, and everything failed. So I had to put his whole old computer back together again. And now I have a pile of parts in the back that I'm going to have to start troubleshooting. And I'm not particularly looking forward to that because some of these parts are from the machine that I originally built to stream Geeks in Space. And as you might recall, that machine was not the stablest of machines.
Not the Hades Canyon Nuck, right?
No, not that one.
Okay.
His computer is probably slower than that.
Well, I mean, that's not a bad gaming machine. It's not great, but it's not by any means terrible.
No, it would be totally usable, but I don't. When I set him up with his gaming PC, I didn't have that. And then he's got his saved games, and he's not gonna move. He needs his stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The oldest one is that we had. There was a Tron story, which is just worth reading if you're interested in Tron. But nothing to say about that.
It is relevant to my interests. It
is. I actually had planned even on putting my Tron background up, but I did not. It's a good article on Tron, but there's probably nothing in there that you don't know if you've read as much about Tron as I assume you have. I have. The BMW story was a couple weeks ago, and that actually had a recent update too. They're changing the seat heater to be part of an $18 a month subscription service.
Yeah, but it comes with the driver's assistance software, so this isn't so different from the full self-driving Tesla thing where you have to pay a monthly fee, right?
Yeah.
They just threw in the heated seats to just stick it to you a little more.
To really be a dick about it.
Drive the knife in.
There's actually stories going around right now that the moment that they did that, the hackers turned their laser focus eye to this project, and apparently they already cracked it. So you can hack your car. That's one thing, man. Don't be a jerk. Or what was the Caldera Nuck box that San worked on and
the Netwinder.
Wasn't that the same thing where they didn't want people into it and it got super hacked?
No,
I don't remember what it
happens. But there's been plenty of lockdown platforms.
Yeah,
so.
Well, and there's nothing worse than locking down an open platform. If you lock down something, or if you take something away, the hackers get mad. If it's birthed into the world locked, maybe that's okay. But I gotta tell you, man, the heated seats, that one makes me really grumpy.
Yeah, it really does.
Well,
so when I bought my car, sorry, go ahead, Rob.
I would say anti-lock brakes are only $2 a month, so that's not bad, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Power steering's $1.
Automatic transmission.
Your arms will thank you.
Yeah.
Power steering. God,
the tricky thing is if you want to open and refuel your gas tank, that's like an extra $10.
Yeah, the gas cap
every time
the
you
gas
open
cap. The refueling surcharge.
Well, no, it's not about rent seeking. They just want to make sure you're using the best quality gas, so it won't open up at a non-affiliated gas station.
I gotta tell you,
That's where
man.
this is going.
I got to tell you, I mean, this is happening. This is something that's definitely happened across every industry. You know, the switch from purchase price to subscription service.
Yeah,
And
everyone looked at Lenovo and the HP printer businesses, and they're like, I want a piece of that.
it makes me so angry. There is software that I use on a daily basis that I cannot buy, that it will switch to a monthly fee. And like, I would buy you, but I will not, purely out of the spite of that. I do not want a monthly friggin' charge on my card, because like I have a bunch of them, and then like those show up and you don't know exactly what they are, and like there's like 6 of them, and like, oh man, this one's like $2. Ugh, hate it so much.
You know, pacemakers are much more affordable if you can pay on the monthly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
And you know, repossession sounds scary with a pacemaker or a defibrillator, but it's really not that scary. It's just sometimes a surprise if you're in the middle of dinner and they come in to take it. You know, why do you hate capitalism in America so much, Rob Malda?
I love capitalism in America. I just have a real problem with it when it breaks.
It's funny because, you know, the article's like, hey, this is really not so weird, you know, you know, like people have been hacking cars, adding functions by swapping out the steering wheel. And the thing is, when I got my 2012 Audi, it had lane keeping in Europe, but it hadn't been cleared in the United States by the regulator. So if you bought a European turning stock with the lane keeping button on it and then flashed it using the VAG com thing, then you could get it. But I'm like, that sounds like a lot of work. I'll just drive myself. Thanks.
I only recently drove a car for the first time that has the lane keeping thing, because as you guys are aware, my car, until I sold my car, I had a 2002. I drove it for 20 years.
You're a testament to the longevity of these cars.
That's true. Well, also I don't put that many miles on cars. But
I do. I've got like 150,000 on my Audi. My guys are like, we've never seen an Audi with this many miles.
But I drove a mutual friend of ours' car a couple weeks ago. I borrowed it for one evening because we had a car shortage. My wife had to go somewhere, and that had the lane assist thing, and I do not like it. It makes me
depends on which
scared.
one. Like the Subaru one is a little bounce. But yeah.
I can't remember.
What were you about to say, Rob?
I would say Ambaloo pointed out that now there's a pay service to unsubscribe you from unused subscriptions. And we have all discussed how we could use that.
Oh man.
Like, what was it that you were trying to find a few weeks ago, DeBona?
Oh like, yeah, I couldn't figure out how I was paying for HBO Max. Like
that's what it was.
Money was coming.
Yeah. And like the HBO Max and like a lot of those streaming services are weird because they're always bundled with something else.
Yeah, right. You get it free with Bex.
I get my HBO because I have AT&T. But
I think me too.
Yeah, but I think my father-in-law gets Netflix with his cable. Like what? It's keeping track of this is. I mean, ultimately, we all know they're banking on you not remembering and making it inconvenient so that they can lock you in. And that is my problem with capitalism, Chris.
That's your problem.
It's not my problem with capitalism. It's that they are doing something that, while on paper is fine, in practical, actual reality, they're being dicks, and they know it.
They are being
socialist.
There we go.
Next thing you're going to tell us that you're going to be voting for, what's her name? The guy, Cortez, the AOC person.
Oh, you want to know what I'm really angry about?
What are you angry
about? If I had no political opinions, and I do have political opinions, but
you're pretty flexible.
I'm fairly centrist in the broad scheme of things. I lean left, but I'm fairly centrist. I am now getting on the order of one every 30 minutes texts for GOP candidates. It's always GOP.
Oh, GOP, really?
Yeah, and it's always.
They must assume because you're in Michigan or outside.
Maybe. I just think I got put on a list somewhere, and also this list thinks I'm Kathleen. But it is constant, and if I was getting these messages, and I was on their side. Like bought in, like it is all really terrifying stuff, like how evil people are and how terrifying people are and the horrible things that they're doing. And I'm like, your side is doing even worse in most cases. Maybe don't speak that way.
There's a candidate running around here, and his ad says, My pronouns are freedom and conservative.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
You don't know how
dude.
pronouns work, buddy.
All right.
You've done the work. Good job.
Uh,
Okay, so there's another one on the list. The next one, Chris, is might actually be interesting for you. It's
Might be.
JWST's ultra reliable radio. It's actually
Oh.
just really interesting. It's about the frequencies that they use and the different speeds that they have a slow frequency and faster frequencies, and this is some of the fastest data transfer that they've ever managed from something so far away. And we always
Wow.
talk about Voyager, and like how it gets like 100 bytes, a minute or whatever. And this thing has to serve gigs every day in order to keep up with the amount of science that it's collecting. But
I wonder
this
if they're
article,
using DTN for the data transfer protocol.
uh, I don't recall this. It's just all stuff about the spectrums and the speeds.
Wow.
And this is just I just like this stuff. It's just interesting to me.
Wow, that's neat.
Next up, the DoorDash and pizza arbitrage. This is, I think, an older story, but this is about, I posted this because this reminded me of the article that we talked about recently with startups funding the millennial lifestyle.
Yeah,
Uh,
I loved that article. That
yeah,
was so funny.
this is somewhat related to that in that this is in that time. I don't know if it's still happening where a third party would create a fictitious storefront and then sell restaurant food.
Mhm.
And in some cases, they would even use your name, like your
Yeah,
own
no, that was
business
really
name.
upsetting. That was some
There was a
BS,
whole
man.
slew of really, but
And
this
people were
guy,
like, we don't have a takeout operation. I don't know where you gave your money to, but
yeah.
go F
So
yourself. And
this
like
is a story
people were
about
putting
that.
terrible reviews about the reports. Just
But this
screwed
guy
up, man.
figured out he could buy his pizzas from them cheaper. Because they're obviously like a lot of these startups, they're partially subsidized by the venture capitalists essentially.
Yeah.
And this guy just works out how he can do that, and he can, if he delivers the pizza to himself, he could make like $1, but then he figures out, well, if he just lies, says the pizza is still picked up and delivered, he can make more.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a funny story.
I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. The next one, Doom running on Doom. Because Doom's run everywhere else.
Doom running in Doom?
Doom running in Doom.
I see.
He hacked Doom to run Doom inside of Doom.
Where the hell is the video?
It's right at the top. You just keep scrolling right past it and ignoring it.
I'm gonna go straight to the YouTubes.
Yeah.
First loading.
I'm too young to die.
Sorry, I saw the title screen. This guy's having a hard go of it.
Is he in the game, or is he in the game?
That's very Inception of you.
It's happening.
I don't even know.
Or in the game is the game.
If I run
Here. Oh, there it is.
there it
There
is.
it
Yeah.
That's really funny. Very silly.
Yeah. But Doom really truly does run everywhere.
It's funny, I played so much Castle Wolfenstein 3D. I can't look at like the shelf in front of a movie theater without thinking of that level.
I have a couple like that.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I have a couple like that too. Just like moments from shooters that look like spaces. Like,
Yeah.
I never got super into first person shooters. I like them as tech demos more than as games. But
You like playing them inside them
yeah,
on a COVID test.
right, exactly. Let's see, The Boys. They
Oh,
officially
yeah.
released the name of the
Gen
spinoff
V.
is Gen V. That was
Yeah.
like a week and a half ago. But somebody went on a cruise. So
Well, I mean, I've never been on a cruise before. It's very exciting for me and my wife.
I'm glad that you did not get COVID or sink.
I'm not sure we haven't yet.
Gotta wait
The
72 hours to take
flight
that
back
test.
was a plague flight. That's all
Oh,
I'm going to
great.
say. Everyone around us. Christine ended up masking up twice because she's got stuff coming up that she doesn't want to get sick for, and I had a mask on, like a good one. And it's like everyone,
Yeah.
like a guy practically died, on the plane. Apparently, like he started going into a huge coughing fit, and people are like, "Did he live through that? We're not sure." Well, they're not diverting the plane, so he's either dead or fine. And
Yeah, it'll work.
I'm like going, "This is a disaster."
Uh,
Seriously, the flight home was just like, what is happening? And there was this couple and their two children sitting next to us. And I actually have no problem with small babies on planes. It's like I've got great headphones. I was a small baby once. I've taken my kids on planes. People are like, "Oh, your kid was good." It's like, screw you. Everyone was a kid once. But this couple, both parents clearly, well, she had it bad. She had COVID really bad. And he had the beginnings of, lots of snorting and shit. And then one of the kids was coughing too. And like, I'm like, maybe delay your vacation. This is bad. And the worst part about it was he was way better off than she was, right? But he was letting her handle the kids almost
Oh.
completely. And I'm like, you prick.
You are a traditional
piece
father.
of crap. He was just such a piece of crap. Christine was ready to fucking strangle him. It was amazing. I was like, why don't we switch spots and I'll be in the middle, you can be on the window, and he can be next to me. She's like,
Yay.
I'm gonna, I'm like, no, let's just point the air so it, knocks it down. Maybe I'll get it, whatever. But
Yay.
yeah, it was great.
Well, there's not a lot of information about the Boys spinoff, but
yeah, it's just a couple of the headshots,
mostly not a
of the
release
actors
date.
yeah, she almost looks like she could be the kid of Stormfront, though. She's got kind of that shape of her head, like maybe she's like secretly Stormfront's granddaughter or something.
That's true.
Although, yeah,
All
probably
right.
not the
A little bit of Starlight too. Maybe she's the queen.
yeah.
too.
Oh,
Could
yeah.
be.
Maybe she's like an experiment from Vought to combine
Right.
Stormfront and Starlight to be Stormlight or
Right.
Star.
You got to make the grid. Storm.
Storm.
Light.
Yeah.
Nightlight.
Yeah. Light front.
What about
Front light.
Starstorm?
Yep.
Oh, that's good. I bet you there's already a superhero named Starstorm, though.
For sure there is in Marvel.
For sure.
Yeah, let's see.
So Dune 2 is in production. They're shooting. They're
Oh, sorry.
I bet Zendaya will be in this one for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah, she was not in the last one for very long.
She
I
only
mean,
shot
she's
for a
probably
couple
busy.
days.
She's probably busy with like Spider-Man or something.
Probably.
Can you imagine how much fun it must be to be a worm wrangler on that shoot?
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Great, right?
Yeah. It's like, okay, we need the worms now. Are the worms here? I was training the worm, but sometimes they come.
Well, the thing is, worms are natural animals, right? They're wild animals. They haven't been domesticated.
I heard they're going to a Michigan conference about large crypto
right.
animals.
Right.
That checks out. Let's see. What's the next one? The fake accounts and the Justice League.
Yeah, that's
this is actually a more interesting story than I would have thought. The conspiracy theory to this is that Zack Snyder or somebody associated with him was actually using, the equivalent of the Russian bot army in order to amplify the Snyderverse message, the Restore the Snyderverse hashtag. And I don't know why you're getting a read now or a subscribe. I actually read this whole article, but it's really interesting. And like the article paints it as if maybe Snyder had something to do with it. It's definitely implied.
It sounds like some marketing company he had hired to do some stuff was the originator of the first Snyderverse hashtag that they could find and all this stuff. So it looks like
I'm sure it was just a bad apple at the marketing company.
Yeah.
It wasn't an orchestrated, with millions behind it to recover Zack Snyder's Justice League from the bin of history that it deserved to be in.
Well,
You
Uh,
know,
how much did they give him to read? Was it six?
I
How
don't
much?
know.
How many? It was a lot of money
Yeah.
to
they,
do
I mean, they got an extra
reshoots
few
and
weeks of
edits.
shooting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they reshot a bunch of stuff. They re-edited obviously a ton. They probably did a ton of more effects. I mean, they paid him. So I mean, this
Yeah.
was not a cheap thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
for
I
sure.
hate to say it, if he spent $1 million on
Yeah.
sock puppets and AstroTurf, money well spent there, Mr.
Not
Snyder.
not a bad investment for him.
And
Nope.
in HBO's defense, they use this to drive subscribers to HBO
Hmm.
Go Max
Yeah.
Plus Nexus.
So like
Whatever.
you can see any number of rational actors who would be motivated to do this.
There's
Yeah.
probably a guy at HBO who worked with Zack Snyder and his production team and said, "Listen, let's drive this thing home. We'll all make money, and then 6 months, 12 months
Yeah.
later, we'll talk about like some bad apple, the marketing
Like
company. Who do we want to sacrifice? Who do we hate? Bob.
like
Bob over there. He's a jerk. Let's blame Bob.
this to me was kind of interesting because to me this whole story read like pulling back the curtain and showing you how the sausage is made.
Exactly.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
this is any different than anything else that's ever happened that's
Well,
related to that, right? It's just you don't want to think about, or you don't think about exactly how all that stuff happens, how much
I
of it is legitimate, quote unquote.
I think that the whole thing with Elon Musk and the Twitter bot accounts, I think that if the truth came out and if we truly understood how much manipulation is occurring on Twitter, I think that would probably be good information for us to have as a society. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's a bigger problem than people realize.
I mean, if it's just selling toothpaste and toilet paper, who
But it's
cares?
causing civil
But
war.
yeah, but that whole Civil War thing's a little awkward. I
That's
admit.
true. That's true.
It, the issue is that people would have to care about that.
That's true. And it turns
What is
out
this
they don't
caring
care.
thing that you expect the electorate to do?
It's the thing that we did when we were
Huh.
still in our 20s. We cared.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wait,
I
you
don't.
cared in your 20s?
Oh yeah. I definitely cared in my 20s. It
All
wasn't
right.
until my late 20s where I realized that the world was screwed.
Mm.
Okay, so I have a story
The
in here.
least. Yeah, go ahead.
The tweens are teens rewriting what is possible in the world of competitive Tetris. This talks a little bit about hypertapping and rolling, which are techniques now that Nintendo Tetris players play to get world records, and it's actually a really interesting story. The way that you would have held your Nintendo controller was generally the way people held their controllers to play Tetris up until a few years ago. And then they figured out all these weird techniques where you can where you basically hold the controller sideways and tap your fingers on the back, and you can do
Huh.
it really fast and at just the right angles. You can basically queue up all of the moves necessary in order to slide your piece. Because once you get to like level 22, 23, you only have a half a second to get the piece into position. And this
There's
is
a
just
picture of them doing it that way. Oh yeah, there
you
go.
can find videos of it. I don't know if this article had videos. There's been a couple of Tetris tournaments recently, and it's only been in the last year or two where this new technique has started showing up in like live tournaments. Up until this point, it's the sort of thing that it was just happening, with the occasional Twitch streamer. But it's really extraordinary to watch, and like the people who are really good at it now can max out the score. They can get to the screen. You know how once you go beyond a certain point, things
Yeah, it's
overflow and the
level
graphics all
29 or
monkey
whatever.
up. They can get to that place. It's once you get to level 29
Yeah,
is
that's what I was
where
saying.
things get crazy. And I just think this is really interesting. Like all of the old people that held the records now are getting one by one
And now
shoved
the
up the
teens
leaderboard.
are stepping up and kicking them out.
Yeah, because they've got a completely different technique, and
Those
it's
cheeky
interesting.
teens.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Chess Robot broke the finger of its human appointment. Rob, this one yours, right?
No, it's Chris.
It's me. So I was actually kind of annoyed because at first when this happened, they're like they blamed the kid for moving too fast, and I'm like, there's no world where it's okay to break a kid's finger. It's like it doesn't. I mean, obviously also the chess robot's playing black, right? So why is he grabbing a white finger? I mean, I hate to put it in terms of race,
Wow,
but it's
dude.
like this is terrible programming. The programmers have a responsibility to this poor kid. And like they were like, oh, he moved too fast. He did the wrong thing. And I was like, screw you. You did the wrong thing. You're bastards. I hope you die.
Your detection system should say, "Hey, there's a hand here. Stop."
Or there's unusual input here. Stop.
It turns out Skynet's first move against humanity wasn't quite as devastating as in the movies. But
Knight
there it
takes
is,
finger.
gentlemen. It started. It started.
That sucks.
Poor guy. I would have punched out the programmer.
I would have punched out that robot.
Well, yeah. I mean, you'd hurt your hand. I mean, that. Also, why do you need such a serious robot? Why don't you get a compliant robot that like only has like pneumatics, but like the little soft pneumatics, so that if it does grab something like a finger, it can't break it, and you can smack it away.
Part of it is you having to worry that the robot will break your finger while you play chess again.
It's like about the psychology.
I mean, how many people have beat chess robots forever? This is a new spin on it. I love this. I hope this becomes a show on Sci-Fi.
Kid's finger was in a cast. I mean, there's no world. It was irresponsible to have this particular robot. You don't need industrial robot to move around chess pieces. They're light, they're small. Just use a soft close gripper.
That said, if 2 years ago we would have seen the story about the cool robot arm that plays chess, we would have been like, yeah, sweet, a robot that plays chess. And it's
we've been posting stories about robots playing chess with little magnetic faces, with moving around for decades.
But if we would have watched a video,
a chess robot that moved the pieces around underneath with the little
like those. There's been Kickstarters to buy
in
those.
the 80s.
My biggest question is, why did they need to put a flamethrower on the robot arm?
Right.
Well, and the acid sprayers. I mean, that seems like a bit much.
It's ridiculous.
The B compartment.
It's like, I know they say that it switched off, but I mean, why have it at all?
It's true. The Marvel released their first trailer for Wakanda Forever, which they have also announced will be the final film of Phase 4 of Marvel, and like the first 3 phases, Phase 1, 2, and 3 became known as the Infinity Saga. Phase 4, 5, and 6 will be now known as the Multiverse Saga. And Wakanda will be the end of the beginning of that saga.
There's a lot of Namor in this one.
Yeah. And that, that'll be fun. Namor's a dick. I like that. The trailer was well done.
To be honest with you, I don't actually agree. I thought it was evocative, but it wasn't like I wasn't as deep into Wakanda and Namor as you guys were, so
I like Namor. He shows up a lot in the 60s Fantastic Four and stuff, and that's
I can't figure out why they haven't evolved to not have umbilical cords anymore, or ones that actually stay attached once they're born. I mean,
well, Namor's a mutant, right? He's not he's half Atlantean.
He's an X-Men, right?
I thought he was all Atlantean. I could be wrong, because my knowledge of Marvel Aquaman is not very deep.
Marvel Aquaman.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, I don't know if you guys care at all about the Phase 5 and Phase 6 announcement.
They're saying 5 is Kang and 6 is Secret Wars, right?
Pretty much.
There was a ton of trailers.
Well, Avengers, they're going to end Phase 6 with Battleworld.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Shazam trailer, the Sandman trailer, the Dungeons and Dragons trailer.
Yeah,
we didn't talk about that.
If you do a reload on the zone, I think I pasted in most of the trailers that we had.
Yeah.
I was super impressed on how good the monsters looked in the D&D trailer.
I agree.
I do too.
I am looking forward to this dumb movie.
They did a great job with that black dragon there. He looked
fantastic.
Right.
Look at that.
Owlbear, the Displacer Beast. I mean,
Owlbear was badass.
The gelatinous
Mimic
cube
was awesome. Yeah. Good stuff.
It's funny because I'm watching Stranger Things with the kid, and so we're having a lot of discussions about Dungeons and Dragons. We're in season 4 now, and the panic. But also, the kid is like, it's weird how every season the monster is like a D&D monster, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of is.
Honestly, what? Look at this thing. This thing's bad. Look at this owl bear is incredible. Imagine getting eaten by that beak, man. He would just make. Yeah.
The
Honestly,
trailer.
the weakest thing about this is Chris Pine.
I
He
like
looks like
Chris Pine, man.
I think he looks terrible in this trailer. He looks kind of, he's kind of like half drunk and kind of
Yeah,
stupid.
he's squinty.
But isn't he the party
Yeah.
bard? That's the
I
punch.
think he's a thief.
Well, the punchline is that they have him playing a lute or a mandolin or something at the end.
Yeah. They have the killer from that one show with Nicole Kidman, you know. And there's your mimic.
There.
Yay!
Mimic.
Shoom.
That's
That's great.
it's great. Gelatinous cube, owl bear.
I mean,
like
there's
three
no way that
different
this.
kinds of dragons. I mean, this is going to be a terrible movie. I can't wait
Yeah,
for it.
that's exactly right.
Be
This
wonderful.
is going to be a great movie that you're going to want to watch, very drunk.
Did you guys see the Jeremy Irons one?
Yes,
Oh,
Oh, that was naughty.
It is
how is
not
that
good.
terrible?
it is not
Yeah.
good.
I was going to switch to the She-Hulk.
We
I
lost
know
the
it.
screen share, but
I know. I'm
it-
working on it.
whatever. There's there's a bunch of trailers. There's the Shazam trailer. There's the Sandman trailer. I still haven't watched the Sandman trailer yet.
It's good.
I was gonna do that this morning, but
It's good or terrible, right? Because remember, he also did Neverwhere with the BBC a while ago, and that one was kind of hard to take. So this is either going to be fantastic or it's going to be awful.
I'm not sure I've
You
seen the second She-Hulk trailer.
yeah, they
Oh,
updated
yeah.
the graphics.
Here it is. They're slightly better, but yeah, they're still not nailing it. They're still in the uncanny valley big time.
She looks like kind of like Peg Bundy with a green filter on.
Yeah, right.
That shot's convincing.
That
Yep.
one that was a good shot.
Yeah, I wonder if the whole problem with it is that because they like Hulk is far enough away from looking human that we get to cheat the uncanny valley, but because She-Hulk is closer to looking like a regular person, we hold her to a higher standard as far as uncanny valley stuff goes. The other thing I read that I thought was a pretty fair criticism is everybody's watching these trailers on YouTube, and the compression on YouTube is pretty brutal.
It's not though.
And they're saying that that a lot of the subtlety of the skin is getting lost. And if you watch the trailer on Disney Plus in 4K, it actually looks much more convincing because it has a higher bit rate.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
I'm not sure that I do either, but I did see screenshots like side by side. But that they might have been like lower. So I assume I'm watching the highest quality that YouTube has to offer because I've got all the things set to the max bandwidth and I have bandwidth. But
let me find this trailer on the YouTube's on the Disney Plus. She-Hulk. Oh yeah. Why is it so hard to find trailers? Okay, I'll go to Marvel. I'll go to
blah blah. So the Sandman trailer looks good. I haven't watched it yet. That's the only other one.
I think it does look good.
Yep.
Honestly, the guy they got for Sandman,
He looks the part.
he looks the part, you know.
So there's
Right.
a bunch of people who got a preview of it. So Neil's been posting like snippets
look
of
at this
different
guy.
scenes in different episodes
Yeah.
on Twitter. And so is Patton Oswalt. He's been posting
All right.
Yeah, he's the voice of one of the characters. Yeah.
posting a lot of shots. Like I think today is when he meets Lucifer. They were sharing. Yeah, everything I saw so far looked pretty good. I love the books. Of
Yeah.
course.
Their Death and Desire look really solid, you know. Man, the Corinthian. Holy bro.
That's a character, man.
Oh.
Did you guys ever listen to the Audible book adaptation of Sandman?
No, I heard it was really good though.
I listened to the first book. It's really good.
Man. Boyd, what's his name? He's a great choice. I emailed Neil. I was like, man, you nailed it with the Corinthian, man. Oof. Holy
All the
crap.
casting looks really, really good.
And they've
in the
got
movie.
David Thewlis as the guy in the cafe, you know, the cannibal, whatever. I forget his name. But yeah. Oof. Look, mouth eyes. Mouth eyes.
Mouth eyes, gross. Put your glasses back on. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
see that.
you should go watch it. I don't want to like, page through it.
Yeah,
and
no,
ruin stuff
I'll
for
watch it.
you.
I'll watch it next time I'm sitting in front of a big screen. That's one.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing I enjoy.
Shazam looks fine, you know.
I liked the first Shazam a lot, actually.
I liked the first Shazam.
I think I've said
It
this
was really
before, though.
good.
It scared the living snot out of my kid. That movie was
Oh yeah,
so mismarketed.
yeah. That board scene.
Yeah, that boardroom scene is a
awesome.
horror movie.
It's like, dude, no, too much.
Although
You know?
I will say we showed the 12-year-old Army of Darkness.
Oh, that's
last
a
week.
comedy though. That's really funny.
But it's as close to a horror movie as we've gotten him, except for I guess Stranger Things, which it's
Reginald the Vampire.
It's funny how Stranger Things most of the time is straight up kid show, and then like has legit real scary ass horror and body horror and
The body mangling by Vecna in
Yeah.
the season is pretty horrible. I think
Yeah.
it's probably the most terrifying looking thing, at least, that they've had on the show.
reminded me of Sam Raimi.
They're making a Monsters movie. I have to tell you,
They
Monsters
sure are.
is not.
You should watch the
This looks
trailer.
terrible. This looks terrible.
It's Rob Zombie.
It's Rob Zombie.
I mean, Rob Zombie, he does a good movie.
No, he
but
doesn't. He's crap.
Is he crap?
Yeah,
'Cause
Rob
this
Zombie's
looks
crap.
terrible.
He has a few decent schlock horror movies if you're into schlock horror.
I mean,
other than that, yeah.
This is hard to watch.
Yeah.
Is it done as like a
It's a direct to.
Is it like a mockumentary? Is he trying to like Plan 9 from Outer Space?
No, I think it's an homage.
Yeah.
Oh boy, because the monsters weren't good.
No.
You know,
No.
it's not what I consider. Yeah, they had another Power of the Rings of the Lords.
Oh yeah, we
trailer
didn't
as
have that
well,
in the channel.
so-
There's like a 2 or 3 minute trailer for that out now.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks
it's
great.
a lot of work. Well, I will say. So here's the thing. This is YouTube. How come they can get CGI that looks
Because
good?
that's a
And
human
also,
actress.
Let me point something out. Wait a second. Tatiana Maslany in Orphan Black was the special effect. Why didn't they just like give her some green makeup and say, "You do your thing, girl"? You
Because
know.
she's supposed to be like 7 feet tall.
So put her in a box. Put her in an apple box. I mean,
stand on a
she's
crate, Tatiana.
brilliant. She's brilliant, right? I mean, there is no actor working today who can't put on 15 different personalities with a wig and convince you of it, except for her. Why don't you just say, "Hey, you know what? Dye your hair black. Here's some green paint. Go for it."
They should put her and James
We would've
McAvoy
bought
in
it.
a movie,
Yeah.
and they just it's Split and Orphan Black, and they just are like 38 characters between the two of them. Go.
Yeah. And then Mike Myers is like the hot dog vendor. You know?
Yeah, and just
And
one
the taxi
character.
driver.
He's just one, but he's playing Mike Myers. He's just like Mike Myers, like sitting there.
Well, that's all
"Hey,
he knows.
I'm Mike
you know?
Myers. Aren't I weird?"
What's that all about?
No, the all the shots that I've seen for the Lord of the Rings show look visually beautiful. I don't know.
So my question for you is, with all the streaming services cutting back, except for Prime, actually, I haven't seen any cutbacks from Prime, but like Netflix is cutting back, laying up people off. You know, all these streaming sites are consolidating maybe a little bit. Do you think that this is the last gasp of good television? You know, Apple Plus is, they just announced that they're going to do another season of For All Mankind and a bunch of other things. You know?
Oh, did they? Good.
Yeah. I caught up on For All Mankind, by the way, Rob.
That show is so good. Like, I wish
It's
I could.
stupid good. I have
wish
no
they
idea why
could-
it's so damn good now.
I wish they would cut like 10 or 15% of the emotional
Like anything
drama
about Danny
on Earth.
Stevens.
I don't care
Yeah.
about the family stuff on Earth. Like, I want them to spend 20%
Well-
more time in space and 20% less time arguing about the politics.
Actually, I don't mind the political stuff. I actually don't mind the family stuff either, although there's a bit much of it with the Stevens
It's
family.
just a little bit too much.
Yeah, but they went too far. They went too far.
Just a little bit.
With Karen and Danny, that was not a thing that was ever going to really happen. That's not a thing. There's no world where that's the thing.
I feel like though the services are shooting for different things. Like I
Yeah.
kind of feel Apple wants to be taken seriously,
Yeah.
and I feel like Netflix at this point is literally just mad-libbing
Please don't
things.
leave.
They're
Don't leave.
just
Don't leave. Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
just spinning a dot. Like, have you watched any of How to Build a Sex Room with
No.
Netflix? So
I saw the
bear with
ads
me.
for it.
Hilarious.
It is like someone watched Super Nanny and was like, what if we combine Super Nanny with one of these home renovation shows? Because home renovation is big right now and we need another one, but we need it to be spicy. So someone came up with How to Build a Sex Room. And I
The
will
dominating property brothers or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
Is the
It's
show
just,
worth watching, or is this just 5 minutes and get out?
it really depends because it's mostly about who this old lady goes to help or whatever.
Isn't she like a dominatrix or some wackiness like
No,
that?
she's like, she was an interior designer for,
Oh.
well, this is the story. She was an interior designer for rich people
Oh,
and just started specializing in sex rooms, right?
As you do.
as you do.
As you do. Who the hell knows how much all of it is true? But the episode seemed to be, you either go meet absolute freaks who were going to have a sex room anyway, and it figured Netflix will buy one, I'll be on the show, or people who are embarrassed to walk into an adult novelty store, right? People who wouldn't dream of going into a sex shop to buy anything, so they're either completely open and freakish, or they tend to be very reserved, and those are the two people she built sex rooms for. But she's old and very British.
I have to watch an episode of this just to see if it's.
I don't
See
know.
it seems funny. I've seen a lot of
Couple
home
Taylor and
shows.
AJ asked designer Melanie Rose to spice things up with a rock and roll sex basement. Raj and Ryan share their desires with Melanie.
But I watched that. I saw that, and I'm like, that is exactly. It reminded me of the episode of South Park where they talk about how Family Guy makes episodes, and it's just
Yeah.
manatees touching a ball in a pin, and that's exactly what I thought when I saw this. I'm just like, someone decided, there's a little bit of room in our home reno category right now. How can we make that different?
But I guess you can produce a show like that for a few $1,000,000 and you get a season.
For sure.
Something like Sandman or The Lord of the Rings, you're putting
That's
$100 million or $1 billion.
An episode, $100 million in an episode for
Yeah,
Lord of the
That's what
Rings.
I'm saying. I feel like Netflix isn't shooting for epics anymore.
Yeah.
They want stand-up comedy specials. They want combination reality TV like that, shit that can put together really, really quick and then open you up to their, Asian markets.
I saw The Gray
and-
Man on Netflix.
And
That's
that's another Russo brothers extraction
but
type
like,
movie, right?
they spent a lot of money on it, but it still kind of looks cheap.
Yeah.
Honestly, Extraction was a solid action movie. I mean, it was really, really well done. Like,
Gray Man
but
was
in
fine.
the end, it didn't matter at all.
Yeah, Gray Man was fine. I think the way I summarized
Was
it
the
was
action good? Because the action
it's
in
fine.
Extraction was
It's one of those
insane.
movies that you're gonna watch once, and you're not gonna
Yeah.
remember any of the characters a week or two from. Well, you might remember Chris Evans. His character's pretty terrible,
Yeah.
and he's got an awesome mustache.
We started watching The Bear. It's about a Chicago Italian restaurant.
got it
hot
queued up.
Italian.
Is it good?
We watched one episode, and Christine's like, "I need a vacation. I can't watch this show. It reminds her of her past. And
Oh,
it's like
sure.
too much stress.
Too real.
And I'm like, Christine. She's like, yeah, this is. I want to keep going, but I need like a break. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that stars the oldest son in Shameless. I can't think of the actor's name right now.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just like, oh my god. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we've crossed 45 minutes. Let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Rob
See
Roseman.
ya.
Goodbye,
See
Chris
ya.
Bona.
See ya.
I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. That was Geeks in Space. We'll see you Friday, maybe, unless somebody decides to go on a boat again. Bye.